Hello, everyone. Just a quick sound check here to make sure everybody's hearing me.
Okay. Hi,
I
Carlos.
can hear you. Hi, Carlos.
Hi there. Well, it's awesome to be here again for another webinar. My name is Carlos Figueiredo, and I'm the Director of Community Trust and Safety here for 2Hatch. And today I'm super honored and happy to be joined by three amazing partners of ours whom we have been working with for the longest time. And I just wanted to say that in my role here, it's just like a privilege to work with partners, and especially when we look into moderation, not only for images, but for text as well. And we look into making it, how we make it scalable, how we make it sustainable, business-wise, and also how we take care of people who do this job. So today, it's amazing to have three folks here who are extremely experienced and true veterans in the true sense of the word. And I would like to let you know that we have today here Lynn Davis, Lynn Snyder, and Rebecca Newton from SuperAwesome, one of our awesome partners, and they work with the product PopJam. So I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves, please.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm Lynn Davis, and I'm the engagement manager for PopJam.
I'm Lynn Snyder, and I work with the moderation tools and systems at PopJam.
And I'm Rebecca Newton, and I'm the head of trust and community at SuperAwesome.
Excellent. So just a quick background here regarding our relationship in the industry. We have been working together for the last 6 years. So we have a lot of history together. We have learned a lot together, collaborated in many different levels. So it's really exciting to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I was wondering, Rebecca, if you could please give us a background about PopJam and what it is. What is the app?
Sure, absolutely. So in 2014 at a game developers conference in San Francisco, when we were all still at Mind Candy, we came up with the concept of what is now PopJam. We had no name for it, and for a while it was called Jelly Chat, but it was an Instagram slash Pinterest slash Facebook app idea for kids. And now it's morphed into an artistic expression community for kids. It's sort of like a safe Instagram slash Pinterest for kids. And just so you know, there's no private messaging by design, because our data has shown us, and plus we just knew from years and years of doing this, that there was nothing and no benefit for having private messaging for anybody under 13. So we don't have any kind of private messaging. Everything is public and Twitter-like. So there you go.
Excellent. That's a pretty good background to understand even like the foundation of what we're going to discuss. I was wondering, can we talk a little bit about why is image moderation important to the PopJam community?
Well, this is Lynn Davis. I'll answer that one. We've discovered that if just through experience that if you want to have a positive experience for a community of kids, especially, then all of the images need to be positive, fun, and aspirational if you can sort of push things in that direction. And so by having an experienced moderation team and a really great image moderation tool in place, or tools, we're able to guide the community, and we can then help set the overall community tone.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. It's setting the tone. And I think it says a lot when it comes to images, because that's such an impactful thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's right in your face. You're going to see it, and so it needs to be a good one.
Yes. Would you be able to give us an overview of how you use the tool currently, the community safe moderation tool, to actually accomplish the moderation on PopJam?
So this is, sure, Lynn Snyder here. PopJam has text and it has images. It also has text on images. So we've got a lot of different pieces to put together. but the text filter inside the SIF tool does 99 point whatever % of the job of filtering the text. For images, when we were starting out, we initially used, and we still do, the image risk score that's applied by the SIF tool. And that was a little bit crude way of prioritizing our images. In other words, if the tool had identified something as super high risk, we were going to look at it first. Since then, we've added a bunch of variables that we keep track of over time and have been doing over time about what poses the most risk on an image for our product. Now, for a product that didn't have kids on it, this might be a totally different set of variables, but we were looking at things like, does it have a face? Does it include a photo? Does the image have text on it that needs to be looked at? And we use all those things together now in various ways to route our content to our priority cues. And in fact, we pre-moderate a portion of our images as well, because they include things that we need to have humans look at to make that determination. So really, if you're moderating images, you not only want to pull out together in one place the riskiest content, but you also want to pull out the not risky content so that you don't have to immediately devote a human to it. Then the other layer on that is that we are looking at the player who is posting the content and the risk that player poses. And I think we have more on that a little bit down the road here.
Yeah, that gives a really nice glimpse into how you do a multi-dimensional analysis and you use different data points. I think that's a very, very interesting area. I just wanted to mention to everybody listening right now that we had originally 20 minutes scheduled for this. Given that we have a lot of topics and a lot of expertise here with our guests, we probably will go a little over time if you can spare some extra minutes for this discussion here. So I know that you guys have an amazing new user workflow and you treat new users differently. Could you please talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, new users aren't invested in their account. They don't have anything to lose really by posting bad content. And because of that, we actually pre-moderate. We don't let them post freely until we have established a certain level of trust with their image content. 5 or 10 posts that have been approved by moderation, then the player might move up a level and be trusted to post. But we added that in, and we found that we were actually successfully rejecting more new user content than we had been before, and that's how we knew that was a good idea. We also knew because we knew. Rebecca will tell you.
Yeah, just a short background is that after 25 years of doing this, we found, especially at Moshi, where we were really paying attention and measuring, that kids or anybody who's going to misbehave does it right away. And so we took the first 5 to 10 posts. I think we started with 10 at Moshi Monsters, and then we moved down to 5 and looked at those. And then it's very unusual, like Lynn Snyder said earlier, for somebody to invest 3 months, 3 weeks, 6 months of their time into building a page of all their interests and just all the content that they build, and then just out of the blue, just start misbehaving. So that's where this new user flow came from, and it saved us an enormous amount of time, money, and risk issues.
Yeah, that's fascinating to look at that. I think it's a really good and unique technique, especially since it's based on many years of experience. So I think folks should definitely consider that flow there. Considering users, be them new or not, and if they misbehave, but then they get a warning or some action on their account, have you come across the experience where those users come back and they actually change their behavior?
Yeah, I think all 3 of us would hold hands up in the air together and say yes. I think, that they often come back and say, that was my little brother, that was my cousin, whatever. They find out, usually via their peers in the community, what behavior is acceptable and what's not. And I would say that the majority of those who come back say, oh, that wasn't me, that was my brother or whatever. And then they make then they get to, it's like tabula rasa. They sort of get a fresh start and don't misbehave. And the people who are going to misbehave figure out that we're going to catch them pretty quickly and they're not going to get very far, and they go away. So yes, they always come back and they always start fresh. And some percentage, I don't know that we have any. Lynn Snyder might be able to give you some numbers on that, but I don't know that we have any numbers on that.
But this is Lynn Davis, just a quick note here. Most of it, we don't send out warnings. We don't do any of that. So most of our moderation is hidden. It's, we pre-moderate the new users. If their content doesn't go through, then they try something nicer.
Yes.
So we don't say, oh, we may delete some things, but basically if you're suspended, and that's it. Yeah. So we don't do a lot of sort of mid-level warnings and so on. We found that that's not helpful. And it's basically, it tends to be a waste of time, and the tools are handling all of that very well.
Good point. Good point.
Very interesting approach. It's interesting to see how that works really well for you. And I think there's a point there to be said as well, again, about setting the tone and how you really treat your users in a way that, hey, this is the community here. There's that sense of really being a tight community, right?
Yes, that's right.
So I know you have, we have been working together for so long, and I know you've used many different techniques within Community Sift in your process to decrease your moderation workload. I also know you have some really awesome stats to share today with everyone. So could you speak a little bit more into that?
Sure, it's Lynn Snyder again. We've used our actual moderation data to identify all of the variables that we have been able to label that add risk to images, and that risk as defined by us. For example, a kid's selfie is risky in the sort of technical word, but we don't have them on PopJam unless they're covered up by filters or something else. So when something might have a face, we need to look at it. So by doing this and sort of concluding that drawn images that don't contain photos and don't contain faces and don't contain text and are from trusted users, we've been able to label all of those things and move a lot of content out of the immediate need for a human to look at it. Moderating images is expensive, so you've got to figure out what is going to result in a really low likelihood of rejection. To do that for about 65% of our content, where if all of that content were being viewed right away by moderators, it would have less than 0.5% chance of being rejected. And in addition to that, the variables that I mentioned on those wouldn't be variables like that would cause us to be out of compliance or something like that, something without text or without a face. The worst you're going to see is a naughty drawing. So that's basically the idea, is to not have to look immediately at as many of your images as possible.
Yeah, 65% is quite the reduction, right? And considering like how you pull all those data points, and you mentioned there, if it's not, doesn't have a face, it's coming from a trusted user. So you have so many points, data points that are helping you, aiding you in that decision. So it's great to see that result of 65%. Like what a reduction, right?
Yes, yes. It's kind of life-changing. This is Rebecca, for not only the moderators but for the company, right? Because it makes us more efficient. So we're always tweaking to become more efficient. And just I want to throw something in here that I think is really important for people to hear, and that is we're very well respected by the company for whom we work, and are allowed to do our jobs, and nobody gets in our faces and tries to, tell us what to do or argues with us or anything. We have a lot of freedom to work with SIFT and to work with within the company with the product folks and everybody, and it makes a big difference. I've been doing this a long time. I've worked for people who don't give you an inch, all the way to, at Moshi, I had a lot of space to work and work efficiently. And I think it's made a big difference. So I just want to throw that out there. You got to stand your ground with, your experience.
Right. So basically the goal here is to push your human resources to the areas of highest risk. It's really common sense, but you really need to know what's risk for you, and you need to know how to actually label that stuff in your image data. One other element to this is that most products, you're going to have the content itself, the raw content flowing through, and you have players that have produced that content. And one of the ways we've been able to use the SIFT tool and its text filters and escalation system is to identify the really bad actors simply by the text tool itself, the text filter tool. If you drag out all of the sexual talk, you're going to quickly get, or whatever the label is, bullying, could be any topic. But if you hone in on the worst of that, which you can do almost really automatically in the tool, you're going to find bad players a lot more quickly and efficiently than by scanning through thousands of images. So while one side is looking at images coming in, another is actually quickly looking at the bad players and bad actors and dispatching them quickly. So that's pretty critical as well, because it cuts a lot of the rabbit hole moderation that could be taking place.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, Lynn, because user behavior is much more than just posting images or just posting text, right? There's so many different points there. Even their very username can tell us something. Big fan of the approach that you have, for sure. So, one of the things that obviously, like, to my role, and I know to you as well, is so key, is taking care of the folks who are doing this job, the moderators, taking care of our teams, and ensuring that they're not exposed to high-risk images unnecessarily. How do you do that with your team?
Well, this is Lynn Davis here. We use this, first of all, we use the SIFT porn filter, which not only makes our community safe, but also keeps our moderators from being exposed to any harmful, violent, or pornographic images. We just don't get them. It's very, very rare for our moderators to see anything that's, a little bit off-putting or what you might call harmful. So our human eyes are spared on high-impact images. And we basically have no turnover, and we have a great culture of moderators successfully working together for many years. And we use Slack to socialize during our shifts so that we can chat with each other. That makes a huge difference. People don't feel isolated. We have tried and true escalation protocols, and we have great tools, i.e. SIFT. The mods have staff accounts and are also able to be creative and engage directly with the kids. So, we found that you need to be part of a community to properly moderate it, and you need to engage regularly with the kids to have a positive, healthy community. So our moderators also get a lot of positive feedback and from the kids, and emotional rewards from being a part of the community. I think that helps a lot to offset any kind of negative content or sort of a somewhat tedious job.
Yeah, this is Rebecca. I'm going to chime in. Yeah, it's sort of like going to grandma's house, right? I mean, that's the best analogy. It's like you're not going to misbehave when you have a relationship and a respect built in. And then that's the importance of our moderators with our tool and our app being involved in the community and respected by the community, they're also protected by the community. And I really just have like something pretty short to say about all of this, and about working with moderators and how to keep a team. I mean, some of these folks I hired in 2001 at Habo, so it's been 17 years with some of these people, and you know, and nobody's less than like 7 to 10 years. So it's great to have that same team intact over many products. And we all share so much collective knowledge that's so important to doing our jobs well. And we have a great community within our community, right? So good tools, good pay. We've always paid well, good training, and building a good internal community is always going to lead to success and little turnover, if any. Experience is worth more than minimum wage any day of the week, and it's certainly worth more than turnover, which is very expensive. And in the kids space in particular, the kids like the stability of knowing who the staff are. They want to know who the grandmas are, right? And I mean, we're not all grandmas, but I'm just using that as an analogy. But they like knowing, hey, so-and-so's still here. If they don't have any relationship with the staff and the moderators, then there's nothing to lose, right? But there's everything to gain. So our history shows that paying well and having a close group and keeping that turnover to zero pays off for the business and all the community members.
Excellent. That's a great point too. You know, really treating people as people, and I think that demands respect and trust from everyone, right? From the rest of the organization, from the community as well. It really demands that respect and gives us that freedom to do a good job.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, before we jump into questions and answers, I hope that the audience will have some really good questions for us here. I just wanted to ask one more question. Has image moderation affected brand equity for you guys at PopJam and in SuperAwesome? Has it affected brand protection and that side of things?
Well, this is Rebecca again. I'm going to jump in on this. So we have a lot of business partners, and I mean a lot. And so brand protection and loyalty and the risk management of those relationships is low because of first of all, because our reputation is so good, and that our reputation is good due to the tools and experience of the team, right? And the tools that we use. And so like working with government agencies and NGOs, and we also work with law enforcement and have really good open relationships with law enforcement. We are happy to invite parents in, or we work closely with the business partners to bring them up to speed on what it means to work with kids in a community and all the parameters and boundaries that are important to be aware of, and of course regulations. And so working with law enforcement, NGOs, government agencies, and all of these things we just talked about gives us really good street cred. So we have a pretty strong reputation in the industry, I believe.
And Lindy here, it's, what Rebecca said, plus because of great tools and very responsible image moderation and text moderation, PopJam is generally a very positive kid experience. So it's great for sales and partner confidence. And also, it's beginning to feel like a great sort of kid space social tool learning place for young kids who are not ready for Instagram and other social platforms. So we're getting excited about that.
Excellent. We already have a question here. So I wanted to, well, first, thank you for your wonderful answers. And just let's take a look at the first question here. The first one we got, and let's see who wants to answer this one. A few times you have mentioned if your users are trusted. Are you referring only to community safety trust levels, or do you have separate or additional factors to determine if someone is trusted?
This is Lynn Snyder. It's a great question. Currently, we are referring to SIF's trust levels, but as we speak, our developers are trying to figure out ways to enhance that, to add even more information and safe data to that kind of trust level. Currently it's all text-based, and I think our guys have spoken even to the SIFS developers and about how to enhance that going down the road. So it's an interesting question. A lot can go into that. What makes you trust your user?
Excellent. And there's something to be said there as well about like this collaboration that we have had for 6 years, how many things we have done together and how many things we can still do together to enhance those things, right? I think that's always awesome to work so closely and be able to say, yeah, let's make this thing even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this Rebecca, it's a really great symbiotic relationship that we have with SIFT, and it makes all the difference.
Awesome. We got another question here. How do you prevent users from posting inappropriate hand-drawn images?
This is Lynn Davis here. Well, first of all, we pre-mod the new users, so that helps a lot. We look at a certain number of images for new users, and usually if they're going to post something inappropriate, they'll do it right away. The penis being one of the very favorites of all time, and we've seen a few of those. But here's the other thing: you can't stop it. But players will report it right away. They don't like it. They like to self-govern their community. They're happy there, and they don't like it when somebody does that. So they'll report that image right away. The other thing is that a hand-drawn penis is not harmful or dangerous. So it's a little naughty, but it's not something that we would consider a safety issue. So that's sort of, that's important to understand, that the intent is just to be naughty. It's not harmful.
If I could add on to that, Lynn Snyder again, the kids who are going to draw naughty images are also, in our experience in PopJam, going to out themselves by also using bad text, which draws us to them immediately.
Yeah.
So that often had that other layer of looking at the player activity helps us a lot to root that out because they out themselves.
We got another one too. Text on images, and it's something that was mentioned before. Considering the types of posts users can create on PopJam, how do you deal with text on images like memes or captions?
So we use optical character recognition to basically translate photo or drawn text into characters that the SIF filter then can handle. And then we have a workflow following a pass or a fail of that for text on images. So it's just more technology handles that. It's not perfect, but it's super helpful.
Excellent. Do we have one more question? I think we could probably fit one more here. No? All right. Well, I wanted to thank everyone who attended. Thank you, Lynn Davis, Lynn Snyder. Thank you so much, Rebecca, Newton as well. And I wanted to thank also Leah for doing all the logistics here with us and keeping us all organized and with all the resources we need. And let me just finish by saying that for everybody here who joined, you can look out to more stuff coming your way. Namely, we're going to have a white paper related to the amazing work that PopJam does. So that will come your way towards the end of the month with some super actionable points. And we also will have more webinars, including a product overview webinar next month, and that will dive a little bit deeper into technical aspects of how our image filtering works. And I wanted to give also the floor now to Linz and to Rebecca to share some final thoughts here.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming, and please download PopJam and make yourself an account and visit Lumpy.
And this is Rebecca, and I just want to say, pay your mods well, use good tools, and everything else falls into place. And set an example for your community and do it from the very beginning, and then you're golden.
And also, Two Hats, you're fabulous. Thank you so much.
We love you
Thanks,
guys.
you guys.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Cheerio.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.